Hey Ubers, Vivian here. I have some really good news to share with you today. It's November 1st, and I have a guest blog post at Two Peas in a Bucket today. So if you have a chance, please go over there and visit me. This is the tag that you'll see over there. I made it for actually Breast Cancer Awareness Month, hence the sort of pink color scheme. But it's very mixed media, and there's a stepped out tutorial over on the Two Peas in a Bucket blog. Um, there's some hot glue, there's masking tape, there's lots of spritzes, there's stamping, there's heat embossing. I used some mixed media inks, and I'm really into all the shimmery sprays. So rather than show you how I made that tag, I thought I'd try and get a video posted simultaneously with the Two Peas in a blog post, using a different color scheme for a winter-themed tag. So I cut out these snowflake shapes from a Sizzix die that I recently picked up, and I used a cereal box weight chipboard from an upcycled garbage bag box. And here's a stamp set from Hampton Art. It's a new one for their Christmas holiday season. It's got beautiful branches, stars, snowflakes, text, flourishes, really very useful. I want to incorporate those buried branches into my tag. So I cut this tag out of another Sizzix die. It's the tag and book plates Bigs die. And I'm just rubbing a little anti-static device over it because we are going to be doing some heat embossing. I have a little cat's eye pigment ink pad from Colorbox in the color Cocoa. And I tried it out beforehand because I just wanted to make sure it was the right tone for this project. And it's a nice light, warm brown, just like hot cocoa. So at the beginning of the video, I gessoed those snowflakes that I die cut using my Sizzix die. The gesso step is kind of important because I just wanted to be sure that the media I applied would show up relatively true to the colors that were advertised. If I had left it brown, that wouldn't have necessarily been the case. So I already generally planned out where I want my three snowflakes. I decided to use three. My three snowflakes to go on the tag. So in the areas that will probably be bare, I'm stamping these beautiful, beautiful branches. I think this stamp is the branch stamp in this set is really useful for year-round projects, not just for Christmas. It'd be great on autumn projects in a pastel color. It could be great for spring projects. I'm really in love with it. I think it might just be my favorite stamp of my third quarter shipment from Hampton Art, which was huge. I don't know if you guys saw my haul video. So now I'm going to do some heat embossing. I actually heat embossed those branches, so I poured some of that clear embossing powder on top after I stamped those branches. The pigment ink stays wet pretty long, and I set my heat tool on it so that I could be sure, just 100% sure, that none of that would bleed when I later added some spritz and other media. So I've got some snowflakes, and I'm using some of my Top Boss watermark ink. It's a very sticky, clear ink, and I'm stamping the snowflakes around the tag in as random and organic a fashion as I can possibly manage. And after that, I'm just going to sprinkle on some of that embossing powder. And once I've got all the areas covered, tap off the excess and off camera, I'll just return the powder that didn't get used back to the jar. That top is removable. And then I set the heat tool on it. And you can see when I put it under the light that is now a permanent resist. So when I apply my spritzes, those snowflakes will stay white. So that's about where I want to put my snowflakes, my larger snowflakes. And I'm going to adhere those down to my tag using really thin strips of masking tape. I don't want to cut them with scissors. I want them to be ripped because I think the ripping adds to that sort of organic feeling that I'm going for. The thing with the butterflies in my tag that's posted to the two-piece blog is that they're one solid shape. So really I just had to make sure that the edges around it were very clearly defined. Here it's a little bit trickier. That's why I'm using thinner strips of masking tape. And as I apply it, I'm also sort of folding it in a random fashion. I want to create a lot of wrinkles and valleys because later when we mist, which is the really, really fun part, all those mists will travel into the valleys that I've created. Now that all my tape is applied, I'm going to go ahead and add some gesso on top of the masking tape. What the gesso does also is it provides sort of a layer on top of the masking tape, which media is more likely to stick to. It likes to stick to the gesso. I don't think it really likes to stick to just the plain masking tape. And I'm really excited about just the little random brush strokes of gesso that are also going on other parts of the tag, because they are also going to change the way the mists adhere to the paper. They're going to make it less absorbent. Here I have my little blue concoction that I used in a previous video. It's a mix of Smooch Spritz and Tattered Angel Spritz. And I'm just always sort of mixing them up in my Ranger's mini misters, which never seem to clog on me. So I really like those for that reason. And as you can see, I just spritzed it all over that dang tag. And it's sort of pooling in areas in a really natural fashion. This is a gold Smooch Spritz. And what's great about what's happening right now is that the yellows in the gold and the blues in my blue concoction are sort of mixing right there on the tag, right there on the page, and creating little areas of green, which I just think are spectacular. I've been in a real big gold mood lately. I've been listening to that Beatles song, Golden Slumbers, and it just seems, it makes me feel all warm inside. And so I'm spraying gold all over all of my projects. So here I'm applying hot glue to sort of mimic the branches that I've got going on. And I'm actually trailing some little strands of that glue onto the stamped branches. And I actually think, in retrospect, that these little organic trails of hot glue could have been really beautiful left just as is and completely transparent. But I am going for some contrast, which we will see very shortly. So I didn't do that for this project, but maybe on another project it'll work, just leaving it as is. It's kind of, I really love that transparent hot glue. So like I said in my two-piece blog post, these hot glue patterns that I'm creating, they remind me, I used to be, and I'm still really fascinated by science, biology, but I took anatomy way after I graduated from college, and something. Oh, so I use this antique copper Maya Road mist, and actually, I don't think they make it anymore. It's not really available from most vendors that I've visited, but I love it. Um, anyway, this hot glue reminds me of omentum, that sort of webby, yucky, fatty curtain that hangs around our organs. Anyway, so I pushed my nozzle for that copper spray way up against my tag to create really concentrated areas of that dark copper color. And once they're on there, I can actually sort of soften it a little bit by spritzing it with water, which I'm doing. And I'm tilting the tag this way and that to get those trails of the copper to move all over the tag. Once that dries, I was in a rush tonight because I really wanted to get this out to you guys the same day that the 2Ps blog posted. So I was kind of impatient about waiting for things to dry. But you want to get all that dark color into the nooks and crannies of your project. And they're going to stay there. I just love this. I love this effect. So I'm going to be using hot glue in a lot of projects for the indefinite future. And now that I've got my darks in my nooks and crannies, I'm going to add my lights onto the raised portions of my tag, which are primarily the wrinkles on my masking tape and the snowflake shapes that I've embedded in there with my masking tape. So now I skipped ahead and it's all done. I'm trying to find a way to show this to you because I recorded it at night. And it's still just a little bit wet. And I think tomorrow morning, as soon as I get some sunlight, I'm going to take some pictures and post them on my blog, maybe the following day. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. It's very different than what I see on my online jaunts, looking at the things people are crafting. But personally, I'm really excited about the effects that I've been coming up with. Using the masking tape. I have a couple of projects, if you haven't seen my videos, using, there were a couple of Halloween projects. I think it's called Eerie Halloween Mixed Media Effects. If you want to check that video out. I've been using my embossing folders along with heat embossing techniques and my mists to create some really cool effects. I think I've got a really cool Christmas card as well that'll be coming up soon. So this is really reasonable ribbon mesh. I recently won a place on their design team. I'm really excited about it. They have a really active blog. And this is one of the first fibers that I got from them. And I took half of the width of the ribbon and strung it through the hole in my tag as you just saw, and frayed all the edges. Very easy. And another way to add some really interesting texture to your projects. I've been using that on all my tags. Before I go to my stills for this project, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching and following me along on this crafting journey. Thank you. Crafty hugs. I apologize once again. I took these pictures late at night with fluorescent lighting. I will reshoot these, and you'll probably see them on my blog in the next day or so. My blog, just in case you don't know, is contadinak.wordpress.com. And if you watch this video today, hop on over to 2Ps and check out my project. I'm so excited to be featured over there. You can also find me on Facebook. I have a public page over there, and you can link to it from the link on the right-hand portion of my blog. And one last social media item of the day. Last night, I just joined Twitter. So I'm Contadina K, Contadina K, on Twitter. And I really don't know what I'm doing over there yet. I don't know how to navigate, but would love to link up with you and work it on out. Thanks again, and see you next time. Bye.